HB1625, sponsored by Representative Haley. Representative, you may proceed.
Good morning, members of the committee. I am Willard Haley. I represent the 58th District of Missouri, which is all of Morgan County, Monotol County, and a small portion of Cooper County. And I am here today to present House Bill 1625. I might remind you that you heard this exact bill last year. Last year it was, I think, House Bill 49. It made it to the Senate last year, and I was fortunate enough to present it to this group last year. This year, this bill passed the House by a vote of, it was third read and passed by a vote of 135 yes and 2 no. 137 to 2. So I am back to present this very important bill to you today. And I just want to mention that I was approached by a county prosecutor that said we have too many people that are taking some of the charges lightly. We have trouble making charges stick. We need a little bit more substance in our laws that will punish these traffickers of drugs, and that they kind of know that where they can get by, and how that they can say, well, I didn't know fentanyl was in a substance, and that kind of thing. So that kind of helped lead to me filing this bill. I have to say that I have not personally lost a family member. I know some family friends that have been affected by the drug trafficking industry, and I am the grandfather of 6 small children, with a 7th one on the way, and I want to make our world a much safer place for them as they are raised. So this bill amends the offenses of drug trafficking in the first and second degrees, first degree in drug trafficking and the second degree. Currently it is a felony if they knowingly distribute, delivers, manufactures, or produce, or attempts to distribute. What this bill does is it lowers the amounts for the penalties. Drug trafficking in the first degree is a Class B felony currently if they have 10 to 20 milligrams, and this lowers that to 3 to 14 milligrams. The second category, drug trafficking in the first degree, is a Class A felony for at least 14 milligrams is what my bill will do. Currently it is greater than 20. And so I'm lowering the amounts because any amount of this is a deadly substance, and we will have we'll have more support for this. This issue is not merely about drug policy. It's about protecting humans in the face of one of the deadliest substances circulating in our communities. Fentanyl is not an ordinary drug. It's a synthetic opioid that is roughly 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. Because of this extreme potency, even a tiny amount, an amount small enough to fit on the tip of a pencil, can be fatal. When individuals choose to distribute fentanyl, they are not simply selling an illegal substance. They are distributing a chemical that carries an extraordinary high risk of death. One of the most dangerous aspects of fentanyl is that it's often mixed into other drugs without the user's knowledge. People who believe they are taking heroin, cocaine, or even counterfeit prescription pills may unknowingly ingest fentanyl instead. This means the consequences of the distribution exceed far beyond those intentionally seeking opioids. Someone contaminates food or with poison or distributes a product that could easily kill someone, we hold them accountable. Distributing fentanyl is a similar level of danger, yet the legal consequences do not fully reflect that. Increasing the legal consequences raises the stakes for those who might consider entering this trade. This will also help law enforcement target the larger networks responsible for bringing fentanyl into our communities. Tougher charges can provide prosecutors with the tools needed to dismantle organized trafficking operations and hold high-level distributors accountable. And I want to emphasize that this is not about those suffering from substance abuse. It has everything to do about punishing those people who are dealing death in our communities. Also, I recently have been hearing more about carfentanil and how it is 100 times more potent than fentanyl. And it is a synthetic opioid made for animals use, like in large animals, elephants. No way should it ever be administered to a human. This bill also includes that. I know that we have quite a few witnesses today, so that is my brief introduction on this bill. It is very important that we get this to the floor, and I might add that Senator Mike Bernstetter will be the handler for the bill in the Senate, and I'm hoping that we can get this passed this year, as this is the fourth year that we have had this bill actually presented. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you. Quick show of hands, how many witnesses we have to testify on this bill? Okay. Very good. Questions for the representative? Seeing none. First witness in favor, and folks, we have been limited to only 1 hour for all the bills. So if you have a personal story, please take your time and share it. Otherwise, I'm going to try to keep everything to 2 minutes or less. Please proceed when you're ready.
Hi, my name is Laura Woody. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I also want to recognize how hard all of you work vetting each bill before it becomes a law, and this particular bill is evidence of why that is important. My son, Jimmy Woody, was poisoned with illicit fentanyl in 2021. There was no investigation, no justice, and no accountability. He did not ask for fentanyl, he did not want fentanyl, and he didn't know he was getting it. He was murdered. Every state has a felony murder statute. In Missouri, it's second-degree murder. If you commit a felony and someone dies as a result of that, you can be charged for murder. This has not been happening with drug deaths because the tendency has been to blame the victim for their own death because they're seen as culpable and to not hold the supplier accountable. Two people take place in this transaction. My son received an immediate death sentence with no due process, no jury of his peers, no representation, and no opportunity to appeal. Instant death. The other participant in that transaction had no accountability whatsoever. That's not justice. That's not what our justice system was intended to be. And we all stand up and say, with liberty and justice for all, there is no except for drug addicts. After that, they deserve justice too. Because these weren't being seen as crimes, they were being brushed off as accidents and swept under the rug, this new statute, 579022, delivery of a controlled substance written and resulting in death, spells out that this is a crime because second-degree murder wasn't enough for some to investigate and prosecute. Unfortunately, it has two severe loopholes. One is the word knowing, because any decent defense lawyer is going to tell their client, just claim you didn't know it was in there. And that's, drug dealers are not only getting away with murder, they're being allowed to become serial killers, to just continue to kill people while they rake in the profits. We've got to put a stop to that. And the other loophole is that one substance is added to another substance. That means these charges can only be filed if it's a polysubstance. For example, if someone laces heroin with fentanyl, then this law applies. But if they replace the heroin or cocaine or whatever with pure fentanyl, then this statute can't be used. Just removing that line, knowing such substance was mixed with another illicit substance, will make it so much easier for prosecutors to hold these drug dealers accountable. And those who oppose these statutes, the arguments we hear is, well, the drug dealers are just addicts themselves suffering from substance use disorder. We don't give drunk drivers a free pass on vehicular homicide because they have alcohol use disorder. If your actions result in someone's death, you need to be held accountable for that. And Also, I can support offering criminals treatment, addiction treatment and recovery in lieu of incarceration, but that's not happening if these crimes aren't even being investigated.
While your time has expired, I'll give you a couple seconds to wrap up.
I think I'm done. Any questions?
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony today. We're going to pause briefly and go into getting a quorum. Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Senators Schroer.
Here.
Gregory 15. Oh, okay. Brown 26. Berger. May. Roberts. Schnelting. You have a quorum.
Having a quorum, I move that we go into executive session. Do I have a second? Second. Having a second, we are now in executive session. I now move that we bring up House Committee Substitute for House Bill 2610. Is there a second? Second. Having a second, this is the bill from Representative Murphy on the legal expense fund providing access to coverage for foster care, case management, residential services, and so on. This was heard last week, similar to Senate Bill 844. Is there any discussion on House Committee Substitute House Bill 2610? Yes. Not Representative, Senator.
Listen, so when we're talking about, I see it say foster care, case management services, or residential services. What are we referring to?
So we had some testimony on if these kids are placed by the state in foster care, and there's an issue where there's a lawsuit on where they were placed. If there's, let's say, an injury or something occurs while they're in custody, the big issue that we heard in the testimony is that a lot of these facilities are not able to find sufficient coverage, insurance coverage, which will then turn into not being able to place these kids, and then the windfall, the issues that we experience in not having proper care for them, and then we'll have to create new places for them to be placed. So this would allow them to have that insurance coverage, so they're not being personally sued when the state is placing them into care.
Okay, so we're talking about the resident where they're being placed, or the foster care entity that's placed?
It could be both. It could be they could sue all of them. So the entities where they're being placed, these foster care homes, if you're opening your doors, you want to have coverage just to make sure if something happens, if the kid gets in a fight, if the kid steals a car, if they're going to sue you, or if the kid himself is going to sue, saying, hey, I slipped and fell at my foster care, they were negligent and whatever it may be. You want a broad insurance policy to cover any of those damages, so they're not going to creep into your personal accounts or whatever you may have.
Okay, I'm okay with it, but I think we need to put some narrowing around that part of the residential.
Okay.
And I'll offer a suggestion when it gets to the floor.
That works. Any further discussion on House Committee Substitute House Bill 2610? Seeing none, I renew my motion that we vote do pass on House Committee Substitute House Bill 2610. Is there a second? Having a second, Mr. Secretary, call the roll.
Senators Schroer.
Aye.
Gregory 15. Aye. Brown 26. Aye. Berger. Aye. May. Aye. Roberts. Schnelting. 6-0.
Having voted 6-0, motion passes. And before I get out of executive session, I know there are a couple members here on bills that they may have that want to be voted out. We are very short today. We only have a half hour left with 3 bills to get through. We may have another session to just exec out the other bills. That may be tomorrow or maybe Monday at the very earliest. But if not, it's going to be next Wednesday. With that, I now move that we get out of executive session and go back into the public hearings. So I have a second. Having a second, we're now back on the public hearings on House Bill 1625. Next witness, please come forward. And you will have, unfortunately, we're going to have to limit testimony to 2 minutes at this point.
Good morning. My name is Dana Blanner, and I'm first going to tell you I'm not a great public speaker, and this is very emotional for me. So I'm here today as a mother and a grandmother and someone whose life has been permanently changed by fentanyl. And because of that, my son, Zachary, is now gone. This is my son, Zachary. He's more than just a statistic. He was a father, a son, and someone who deeply loved everybody. His smile, it lit up a room. You couldn't be mad at this kid. There's no way to fully explain what that does to a family, and there is no way to put into words what it feels like to outlive your child. It's something you carry every single day, and I'm not alone. Across Missouri, there are families just like mine, families who never imagined this would be their reality, now living with the loss that can't be undone. What we're facing today is not the same as it was even just a few years ago. Fentanyl has changed everything, and it's more potent and it's more unpredictable, and it is being mixed into other substances. It is being distributed in ways that make it nearly impossible for people to understand the risk they are taking. And it only takes a tiny amount, milligrams. That is all it takes to end a life. But our laws have not kept up with that reality. When Missouri statutes were revised in 2024, I noticed some of the language in section 579.0022. And as a mother whose son was killed with fentanyl, I saw a technical gap, and it terrified me. The law, as written, focuses on fentanyl mixed with other controlled substances. And at that time, I reached out
I'll give you a couple seconds to.
I reached out to my local representative with a question. What if dealers laces substances or sells fentanyl straight? Does that law give them the loophole to avoid accountability? By lowering the trafficking threshold and removing technical mixing requirements, this bill ensures that the law is accurate. When a substance is lethal in such small amounts, the law must reflect the true level of danger. Right now, the consequences don't match that harm. And the bill is about accountability. It is about making sure that people who are distributing these substances, the ones putting them in our communities, are held responsible in a way that reflects devastation they cause. And I want to be clear about something. This is not punishing people who are struggling with addiction, because families like mine understand addiction very well. This is about people who are supplying it, the people who are profiting from it, and the people who continue to put these substances into circulation, knowing or choosing not to care how deadly they are. Please a few more moments because I'm almost done here. There has to be a line. We have to draw a line, because right now that line is not where it should be. And families are the ones paying the price. We are the ones sitting in empty bedrooms. We are the ones celebrating birthdays without the person who should be there. And we are the ones raising our grandchildren who should have their parents. I am raising my son's 2 children, making sure they're safe and cared for while knowing they're growing up without their father. We're the ones trying to explain to these children why nothing is being done to the people who have taken these people away from them. HB1625 will not bring back my son. It will not erase what has already happened, but it can be a part of making sure fewer families have to stand where I'm standing today. And it can be part of making sure the law reflects the reality of what fentanyl is doing in our communities. And it can be part of holding the right people accountable. I'm asking you to please support HB 1625, not just for my son Zachary, but for every family in Missouri that is at risk for experiencing this kind of loss. Because once it happens, there's no going back. I want to thank you for your time. And remember, you can debate the policy, but families like mine are living the consequences. Please make sure Missouri's laws reflect the reality that even a few milligrams can take a life. Thank you for giving me the extra time.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your story. This is something this committee is taking very seriously, and I want to say this legislative body. It's been an issue that I've focused on for the past several years. We've fast-tracked a bill, 2 of them actually, dealing with almost identically what is in this bill. And whether it's 1625 or one of those that pass, we need to do something about what's happening to our kids. And on behalf of this committee, I apologize for what you, your family, your grandkids have all gone through. And hopefully we can put an end to that this year.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Are there any questions? Yes, Senator Brown.
I want to kind of echo the chairman's statement, and I always really admire when people come in and share their personal stories, just knowing how difficult that is, and it takes just an extraordinary amount of courage to take a tragic thing that happened to you and try to use that energy to try to do something good, try to make a difference. So just thank you to yourself and everyone else that took the time to come here and share those experiences, because I know it's very difficult.
Thank you, and I appreciate what all of you are doing.
And before I ask if there's any other questions for everyone, I know we're on short time. If you have written testimony, if you don't get to it all, feel free to leave that up there with your witness form. You will need to leave your witness form on the table up there when you testify. So any other questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you again for coming today. Next witness in support of House Bill 1625. Again, we have, I don't know if the announcement was made, we have to be out of this room by 9:30, and we have this bill and 2 others to get through.
Good morning. My name is Lily Compton. I'm not a legal expert, but I'm a grandmother who was forced to live in a world no longer containing her 2 grandchildren, Sean and Katie. My heart was ripped out not once but twice. My grandchildren didn't just pass away. They were killed by a poison that was sold to them. But when we looked for justice, there was none. Under our current law, a dealer can walk away from murder charges simply by saying, I didn't know it was mixed with fentanyl. The law as it stands today gives the benefit of the doubt to the person selling the poison, rather than the children who died from it. It requires prosecutors to prove what was going on inside the dealer's head, which is an impossible task. HB 1625 changes that by removing the knowledge requirement and the mixed with loophole. You are finally holding people accountable for the results of their actions. If you distribute a substance that takes a life, you should be held responsible for that life, period. My grandchildren more than just a delivery of a controlled substance. Katie was very intelligent and an avid reader. Stephen King was her favorite author. She named her, so much so she named her son Stephen King. She was a loving mother and trying to get her life together for her son. Sean just wasn't my grandson, he was my friend. Asking Grandma for advice very often, and was there anytime I needed him, even if it was just to talk. He was very positive and always tried to motivate others to do their best. They deserve a law that protected them. I cannot bring my grandchildren back. No vote you take today will change the fact that their chairs at my dinner table are empty. But you can ensure that the next grandmother doesn't have to sit where I am sitting, begging for the loophole to be closed. Please pass HB 1625. Please choose our children over their ignorance of a drug dealer. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony, and the same sentiments from our committee. We're taking this very seriously, and we don't want any other individuals to lose their life because of this. Are there any other questions for the witness on this topic? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next witness in support.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, State Public Advocate. Mr. Chairman, I submitted a few days ago my online testimony. Just want to make sure that you had received it in support of this great legislation. HB 1625, I testified on January 13th in the House Committee on Public Safety and Crime. This is a very serious issue, as you've heard from testimony from the previous speakers and supporters of this great bill. It's about responsibility and accountability to hold drug dealers and drug traffickers responsible. They decided to replace key ingredients for profits. It's sickening, it's demeaning, and it's terrible to Missourians. I don't believe in drugs. I've never taken drugs. I don't believe people should go down that path. But if they do, the proper ingredients should not be messed with. These dealers need to stop killing Missourians and ruining Missouri families, our economy, and our communities across the state in every corner. There's lots of fake substances and synthetics that I know about in O'Fallon and St. Charles County from the Drug Task Force. These actions and crimes must be stiff and swift felony penalties, and I agree with every one of the increase in penalties. We need to send a clear message that drug and criminal activity would not be allowed in the borders of our great state. I ask you as senators to draw the line in the sand and take action today, not last week. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I didn't want to threaten to throw you out of the committee like other chairmen do, but
That was kind of interesting yesterday, wasn't it?
are there any questions for Arnie? Seeing none. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Show of hands, who else is here to testify in favor of this bill? Okay, please come forward. After this testimony, we're going to move to 1 minute before we switch to opposition. And make sure you have your witness form filled out. And you can do that after your testimony as well. Please proceed.
Hello, my name is Erica Husky. I'm from Hillsborough, Missouri. My brother, Scott Lashley from St. Louis, passed away November 14th of 2023 from a fentanyl overdose. He left behind 2 young daughters and my parents, and watching them grieve his death was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. After his death, I spoke with the detective that was assigned to his case. And for him, unfortunately, it was kind of just another day. This was something he experienced often. It was just a close and shut case. So someone profited from his death by selling him this drug laced with fentanyl, and that person was never held accountable. And now my brother is gone, and our whole family has to live with that. He was only 39 years old. So that's all I needed to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time to testify today. Are there any questions? Seeing none. Next, in support? Seeing none. Any in opposition? Seeing none. Any for informational purposes? Seeing none. That'll conclude the public hearing on House Bill 1625. Now moving to the next on the list, House Bill 2167 by Representative Dolan. Don't know whether to call you judge or representative, but either one. Are you a doctor also? Doctor of the law.
I did play one on television, but
I saw that episode.
I thought I knew you.
A Holiday Inn also with Chingy.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, and members of the committee. It's my pleasure to present today House Bill 2167. 2167 started out as a somewhat simple bill. The first part was we, with great pleasure, changed the pronoun in the Attorney General's bill to add the pronoun of her, because we now happen to have the first female Attorney General in state of Missouri history. So we've amended that to add the office of him or his or her office. Also, Mr. Chairman, we have added a part that allows the Attorney General, in furtherance of their job, to appoint commissioned and non-commissioned investigators as shall be necessary to carry out their duties. Some folks believe that this gave a lot more power to the Attorney General's office, but actually it didn't, because the AG investigators are already employed as commissioned post-certified officers. It's simply that their commissions were issued by outside agencies, and any tasks that the AG would want to accomplish with these peace officers could be done under the current system, but it was a bureaucratic, administrative, and transparency hurdle. For instance, their commissioned investigators were, I believe, commissioned by the sheriff of Osage County, which means that if they wanted to re-up their commissions, they would just have to go to Lynn or someplace or do that. Why does that add complication and bureaucratic and transparency? One of the cases that the AG's office successfully investigated and used their commissioned investigators for was a recent quo warranto hearing in St. Louis regarding a sheriff. So if they had to use these commissioned officers to investigate a sheriff that provided the commission for these investigators, that would be an apparent conflict of interest. So what we were trying to do was to bring that in-house so that it really wouldn't provide any additional powers or anything like that, no more conflicts. I've had the opportunity, Mr. Chairman, to serve our state in 3 capacities: as an elected prosecutor, as an elected judicial officer, and now as a representative 148 representing the people. I served in the Scott County Courthouse for 38 years, and back when I started, I was a part-time prosecuting attorney doing full-time work. It was myself and my administrative assistant, who I got to give a shout out today because it's Administrative Assistants Day. She and I worked together for 38 years in the same office. Her name was Lisa Vetter, and she and I had an assistant prosecutor that worked maybe 10 hours a week or something like that. But I used the investigators from the Attorney General's office as to help in my office to prepare murder cases, to prepare some child sexual abuse cases and stuff like that, which I really didn't have. So I'll be glad to answer any questions that the commission may.
Judge, I think the only piece of this bill that differs substantially from what we've had in this committee before and voted out for the past couple of years, I think the only difference is your first section, 21158, which has been considered on some bills on the floor as an amendment, and that's allowing the General Assembly, the House, the Senate may employ legislative security officers. Do you have any commentary on the feedback from the House members on that section? Was there any debate on that piece alone?
I did not. That was Representative West, his amendment to my bill, so I didn't really have any information on that. I didn't argue that in committee or anything like that. That was a House floor amendment that was added on there. So I really didn't have any input or any additional matters on that. This is my second year now in the House, and those folks that have heard this part of it more additional years would have a lot more information on it than I do.
Okay, perfect. Any questions for the judge? Seeing none, your first witness in support, please come forward. We are modifying this because we only have about 13 minutes left.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. We're going to go to 2 minutes. I know this is a bill that we've been through previously, but you're here to testify and answer any questions.
Thank you, members of the committee. My name is Greg Goodwin.
Make sure the microphone is on.
Oh,
sometimes
thank
it turns
you.
off. Thank you.
Thank you, members of the committee. My name is Greg Goodwin. I am the Chief Counsel in the Public Protection section, so I work with the prosecutors every day. I agree wholeheartedly with Judge Dolan's comments. The only thing I would add is that the investigators who are post-certified perform another critical function in our office, which is when we prosecute criminal cases, they take custody and control of the evidence so that it remains in the chain of custody and we don't have to have folks from the Highway Patrol drive several hours, since we do the cases all over the state. And so that's another sort of critical function that they perform. And as Judge Dolan explained, passing this bill eliminates these potential conflicts of interests in cases. And of course, we have no problem with the Osage County Sheriff. He's been very gracious to us to provide those commissions. But I think this would just sort of, as Judge Dolan said, return some transparency to the process.
Thank you for testifying, and thank you for being here once again. I think this might be the third, fourth, maybe fifth year we've been on this bill. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony today. Moving to the next witness in support of House Bill 2167. Seeing none, any in opposition of House Bill 2167? Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I submitted my online form on the Senate portal a few days ago in staunch opposition. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, State Public Advocate. On January 21st of this year, I testified staunchly against House Bill 2167 in the House Judiciary Committee. I cannot support an unconstitutional bill by this amendment of adding General Assembly security officers to have arrest powers. This bill is now done. It's hit the wall. It's done. It's a killed bill. It muddies the water, with this atrocious, with the amendment, it basically ends this bill today right here. The Attorney General investigators having the power of arrest, the Attorney General needs distinct, according to our state constitution, separation of powers of government. Checks and balances. Senators, checks and balances. We need justice and to make sure that our AG is in check and to make sure that she doesn't run away with the power or any of her successors. It's my understanding that the Miller County Sheriff's Office is the one providing the investigators currently to the Attorney General's office. By adding the security officers of the General Assembly, which they have a current riff with the Missouri Capitol Police, that just muddies the water of this bill. They're two separate and distinct issues. I believe that we need to deal with the security officers of both the Senate and the House of Representatives, and we need to make sure that there's adequate protections and controls, because certain situations have come up recently in previous weeks, and those boundaries and those authorities, post-certifications and arrests need to be distinct and need to be worked on. The Attorney General needs to have, again, those separation of powers, and by giving the Attorney General more power, more leeway, lets an Attorney General almost become a dictator under our state government.
Well, Arnie, I don't want anybody to take away my powers as of right now, and I know we only have a couple minutes left. Your time has expired, but I'll give you a couple seconds to wrap up.
Thank you very much. The bottom line is, by adding the amendment of the security officers, it's essentially killed this bill. And so I ask you not to forward it to the Senate floor. Let's work on it next year. They are two distinct issues. I don't believe the Attorney General deserves to have power of arrest. That's for law enforcement at the local and the county and the state highway patrol level. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions?
I am not in support of this bill.
Any questions for Arnie? Seeing none. Any in opposition of House Bill 2167? Seeing none. Any for informational purposes? Seeing none. That will conclude the public hearing on House Bill 2167. And last but not least, we're going to move to House Bill 2302. Representative Oehlerking, you can take the stand, and you will have 2 minutes to present.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity to present this, Mr. Chairman and Senators. For the record, my name is Philip Oehlerking. I represent House District 100. House Bill 2302 can be essentially broken down to codifying a policy that the Department of Corrections already does, and this is to ensure that inmates about 9 months prior to their release are issued a valid state-issued identification card, birth certificate, Social Security card, and then also for the Department of Corrections to work with an inmate, again, prior to release, if they've done any vocational training to help them build a resume, and also to conduct a mock interview with them in order to be able to make sure that they can go out and get a job soon thereafter. This bill passed the House 142-0. This bill was previously attached to House Bill 1777 3 years ago, passed out of the House unanimously, or nearly unanimously, and unfortunately didn't get across the finish line. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Representative. I think it's a great bill, a great idea to get these people back on the right track so they're not reoffending. This has contributed to lower recidivism rates, so it has my support, and hopefully we can get it on the Senate floor here quickly. Are there any questions? Seeing none. First witness in support, please come forward on House Bill 2302. Thank you. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, for the record, Brad Thielmeyer, registered lobbyist for Recycling Grace. Recycling Grace is a women's addiction recovery center based in Poplar Bluff. It is faith-based but also state accredited. We have a 6-month program for the women who enter the Recycling Grace. After 1 month, they are required to get a job. A lot of the women coming through have struggled to have getting IDs from DOJ or DOC to be able to get their jobs. So this would really benefit our ladies in being able to obtain work.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions? Seeing none. Next witness in support, 2302.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Alex Eaton representing Responsive Government Action. Appreciate Representative Oehlerking bringing this forward. We've worked with him previous years. Like he said, it's passed both chambers before, got stuck up, but appreciate you guys listening to it. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none.
Thank you.
Next, witness in support of House Bill 2302.
Good morning, Chair, Committee, Sage Quorum, American Civil Liberties Union of Missouri, here in support of the bill for exactly the other reasons that were stated by both the representative testifiers and the chair. Thank you.
Any questions? Seeing none. Next in support of House Bill 2302.
Thank you, Chair and Committee. Kurt Wickmer, representing the Missouri Catholic Conference. We'd like to go on record in support.
Any questions? Seeing none. Thank you. Next in support? I don't know. Where in support? Arnie? I am in support. Okay, perfect.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Arnie C. AC Dinoff, State Public Advocate. A few days ago, I submitted my online support testimony on the Senate portal for HB 2302. Back on January 12th, I testified in full support before the House Corrections and Public Institutions Committee. The Department of Corrections needs to provide basics to inmates upon their release back to Missouri society. In my opinion, this is great legislation of Representative Oehlerking. This is a no-brainer. It's smart government. Should have been done a number of months ago, as unfortunately men and women released from our correction facilities have been left without the necessary documents to re-enter into our society. These Missouri men and women deserve our support and our back when we open those gates and let them back onto the streets of Missouri. Again, Mr. Chairman, this is a no-brainer. Let's get this through the Senate. Let's get it on the governor's desk for signature. This is the right, humane act and the right thing to do. Let's get it done this year and not wait and waste more time and affect more Missourians on a daily basis. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for your testimony. I only have one question. It's unrelated to this bill, but it's related to your testimony. I couldn't answer a question a colleague asked me yesterday on your witness forms. Some of the witness forms say Arnie C. AC. Some say Honest Abe. So when do you differentiate on when you use the Honest Abe? I had no answer for them.
Oh, it's there all the time.
All the time?
Yeah.
Okay, because they allege that it's some of the time on the testimony.
No, it's 100% of the time.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
at least you're honest. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Any more in favor of House Bill 2302? Seeing none, any in opposition of House Bill 2302? Seeing none, any for informational purposes? Seeing none. That'll conclude the public hearing on House Bill 2302, and with that, I would move that we adjourn. Do I have a second? Having a second, we are adjourned.